You're
Oh
live.
my God, we're live.
Wow, a year and a half plus whatever time.
Whatever. Episode 300. We did it. We went live for
We did
300.
It is
Again.
2021 and we are live.
We went live yet again.
Yes.
I think you could tell people we went live.
Yeah, we went live.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that. Let's record a show. Let's record our 300th show. Well, not our 300th show, but our 300th normal episode of the show.
Yeah, we went over 300 a while ago.
Oh, yeah. We're way past that.
All right. Let's start here in 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Media Boat Podcast, episode 300. Today is October the 6th, 2021. We are coming at you live on YouTube right now, something I haven't been able to say since February of 2020.
March of 2020.
Okay, March of 2020. We did do that one the week before everything shut down. But yes, hey, welcome. We're glad to see you here. We're glad, however you're watching the show, whether you're watching it live, on recorded video, or if you're listening to the podcast version. Thanks for sticking with us for so long. We've made it to 300 episodes. We are happy to be here. And if you don't know what the Media Boat Podcast is, if this is all coming at you as a surprise and you don't know what I'm talking about at all, let's tell you about it. This is the Media Boat Podcast. We are a podcast that talks about movies, television, video games, and music. Not necessarily in that order. We give you all the news and thoughts as it comes to us, as it's breaking. My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt.
Yeah.
We are live for 300.
And I can actually poke him in the actual arm. He's actually next to me. It's not like this weird division of time and space and internet between us, which is weird. Yeah. Certainly. Let's pull up these notes and let's start with the show.
Yeah. Like I said, this is our first time going live in over a year. It
Yes.
may be jumpy for the YouTube audience, but if you're listening to this on the podcast via your podcaster catching feeds,
yes,
I think it'll be just fine.
Yeah, and hey, if there's not, let us know. You can either jump in the chat here on YouTube right now and let us know what's going on with the recording, or you can email us questions and comments about the show in the aftermath at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. In the meantime, let's get this show on the road. And we always start with movies on this podcast. And we always start the movie section with the weekend box office numbers. This week, a new record has been set as Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and you're using air quotes, but bear with me here, debuted to a $90 million domestic total, which
yes,
semi-officially is the new record for a weekend, for a normal weekend this year.
Yes. Besting Shang-Chi.
Yes.
Ever so slightly.
Without the benefit of a holiday weekend. I want to note that because that's important this summer, because the last summer was filled with debuts that had the benefit of having that extra day.
I do believe Shang-Chi also had the benefit of the extra day as well.
Yes, that's why I mentioned it. But hey, congratulations to Venom. It means people are willing to go to theaters a little bit more so than they were a few months ago. It's getting a little easier for these studios to make these big splashes. Is it the movie we maybe thought that was going to bring people back to theaters? No, I certainly did not predict this.
But it is a Marvel film, and it is franchise film. So
that's true.
Maybe we should have expected it.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we're just bad at our jobs. Anyways, that's your number one.
This is why we didn't put a number on it last week.
This is also why nobody pays us for this. Also, number two, The Addams Family 2 is your number 2 movie with $17 million debut. Shang-Chi comes in at number 3 with $6 million. That's sitting at 206. Like last week we said, it crossed the 200 million mark gallantly and continues to climb. Number 4, The Many Saints of Newark, $4.6 million debut.
I will be talking about that in just a hot second.
Yes, wait for that. And then rounding out your top 5, Dear Evan Hansen adds $2.4 million to its $11.8 million domestic total. But of course, your one upcoming release this week is the one we've been waiting years for. It is Bond, James Bond time, as No Time to Die is finally in theaters this week.
I believe it's actually No comma,
Time to die. I saw that as well. Yeah. So yeah, finally, and it's getting pretty good buzz.
Yep, I've seen good thoughts about it. If you're wondering about where the Hotel Transylvania 4 Transformania film is on here,
Number 6.
Well, no.
Actually,
it did not debut. As I had read that it was supposed to debut on October 1st or 2nd. It did not. But I did see this morning that it has a new release date exclusively on Amazon Prime of January 14th.
Shoot. So did they finally realize that they're going against the Addams Family and then freaked out?
I guess so.
That long.
But it'll also be an Amazon straight to Amazon release.
So they're just bailing on theaters completely.
For that one, at least. I mean, there's no Adam Sandler on it, so there's no
big box office drive there.
Well, not only that, but they don't have to get the numbers for box office, which we'll talk about in a minute here.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So I think there's less incentive to put it on actual theaters because of it.
So I guess the $100 million question in this case is: does No Time to Die outperform Venom next week? Do we see a new record? Does it get to that 100 mark?
Believe it or not, yes. It already has 150 million internationally.
Yeah, internationally, but that's not always a bellwether.
Hot selling ticket.
Sure, but that's not always a bellwether for domestic performance. You can't always match the two. So Bond, yes, is a franchise that does.
It's a franchise that's not a comic book, even though it wants to be a comic book.
I mean, it basically is. So if you're taking the over 90.
Over 90, yes.
Then I guess I'll take the under 90 and take the risk here. I think you're probably right.
I would love to be right.
I'm sure.
And that's why I want to be.
Daniel Craig would also love to be that you would be right here. So.
Daniel Craig now has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I think he's doing all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, my star. Anyways, let's move on.
Well, it will be his weekend.
Yes.
Coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my weekend. Let's move on out of box office numbers and into movie news proper. Oh, wait, we're still talking about box office numbers because our first story. Yes. Because our first story is a wrap up or a resolution for something we reported on a few weeks ago. Hey, remember that Black Widow lawsuit where Scarlett Johansson was all angry about the streaming revenue compared to the box office revenue of that film?
I believe she was more upset that Disney put it on streaming for Disney Plus rather than being a straight theatrical release.
Right. Basically saying hey, you didn't do this for anybody else. And my movie, the one I'm the star of, is the only one that got hit by this. Well, Scarlett Johansson and Disney have reached a settlement over her blockbuster lawsuit that accused the studio of sabotaging the theatrical release of Black Widow to prop up Disney Plus. Terms of the settlement were not disclosed, so I got no numbers for you. But we do have the numbers of the original lawsuit, which is Johansson sought a $50 million payout from the studio. Disney revealed in a filing back in August that Black Widow had grossed $125 million in streaming. Not bad numbers when you consider it. In addition to its $367 global million, $367 million, that's key, box office gross globally. This was all done right before Black Widow was to be made widely available on Disney Plus and before Shang-Chi crossed that $200 million domestic mark that we talked about in its box office run. So, she's gotten paid and the lawsuit is over, but we do not know how much she got paid.
No, but Shang-Chi crossing that $200 million mark this weekend gave her more ammo to basically say, yes, my film would have hit 200 million.
Or potentially would have.
It hit 197 before or after Disney Plus.
Right.
So you take that out and you throw it
But again,
speculation.
We talked about this before, but I'm not a fan of that reasoning. And that's why I say I want to make sure that we're talking theoretically in all these situations. Because because you can never know for sure how many people watched it on Disney Plus would not have watched it on Disney Plus Premiere if it was not available on it. To me, I don't see it as an either or.
It's not individually, it's the family.
Right.
The family saving on $30 tickets.
That's definitely a factor of it, but I'm even saying in a more general level. I'm saying
general level.
Yes, general level. I'm saying that on a general level, the person who is going to jump on something and see it weekend one on Premiere Access, you cannot assume that is also the person, whether how many people are in their family group notwithstanding, if they were going to go to a theater and see it in theaters. Now, you can't make that assumption.
Are you saying this because we did that?
Because we are those people. Well, maybe not you. You, before this pandemic happened, you would go to the movies every weekend.
I'd go probably for the Thursday release on this.
But me, I am this person where if there's any situation where I'm provided an alternative to go to a movie theater, a busy movie theater, especially on a weekend, first weekend of it, I will choose not to go. So it's like, you can't do that. You can't basically jump to that conclusion is what I'm saying. So that's why I'm like, theoretically, that money, if you eliminate Disney Plus Premium there, theoretically that would translate to box office numbers, but you don't know if that's the case or not. It might be a fraction of that. It might be none of it, because it might just have been just enough of a luxury that the people would have never gone to the movie theater to see it in the first place.
Oh, I'm sure that they would have found their way over to the movie theater eventually. Skip. Just like I eventually found my way to Shang-Chi in a movie theater eventually.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying that it's good to keep that in mind, because if you make the assumption, then I don't know, it just may not be the case when they completely move something out.
Good thing we don't have to assume it. Disney assumed it, and that's why they settled.
That's why they're at where they're at.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's probably good ultimately that they did settle, because that would have just been a really terrible case for everyone involved.
Yes. Well, and now they don't have to work with Scarlett Johansson again, even though they will with her being attached to Haunted Mansion reboot, I want to say.
Oh, is that happening? Okay.
In paper, it is happening.
A paper has been signed. Well,
I believe she's attached to that.
I mean, we'll see when it happens. Speaking of seeing it when it happens, our next story takes us a little bit of a follow-up from last week, where we talked about the IATSE, IATSE, possible strike vote that was happening. And sure enough, the union has voted to approve the strike authorization. This doesn't mean they're on strike quite yet, though. Instead, it just gives the union president the power to shut down the film and production that they run across the country whenever they deem fit. So when they drop the hammer, they're on strike and there's no more productions with union workers.
Right. And this vote wasn't even close.
No. 98.7% supported the vote and 90% turnout for the union voters. That's a resounding outcome that the union hopes will strengthen its bargaining position. By the way, this is the first time in its 128-year history that members of the union have even authorized a nationwide strike. The unions have been negotiating since back in May on a new contract and are seeking to address longstanding concerns, as we've talked about before, including long hours on set, streaming wage scales and residuals, and the stability of the pension and health funds.
Those last two being the big ones.
Big ones.
The streaming wages and the pension and health.
So Matthew D. Loeb, the international president of the union, said in a statement, quote, "This vote is about the quality of life as well as the health and safety of those who work in the film and television industry. Our people have basic human needs like time for meal breaks, adequate sleep, and a weekend. For those at the bottom of the pay scale, they deserve nothing less than a living wage." Reasonable demands, I think. It all makes sense to me. So yeah, I hope that they do the strike. I hope that this goes through, and I hope that they get what they're bargaining for, because it really seems like they've been really mismanaged and abused.
Much like we've been on Kenan Watch for the past 2 years. Yes. The next 3 weeks, we are on Strike Watch.
Strike Watch. Yes. So I'm sure everyone will hear about it if it happens, because it will mean these productions will grind to a halt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just literally grinding to the halt. I was explaining to someone how that they're basically everyone below the line, everyone, camera workers, makeup artists, set design, costume, props, everything you kind of don't think of beyond the actors or directors themselves. Everyone else is a part of this union. Yeah. More or less.
Yeah.
Editors, true. Part of it too. So you're not going to be pumping out TV shows.
No, not for a while if this happens. So we'll keep our eye on this for the next couple weeks and see what happens with it.
keep trying to refresh my news feed, trying to see if it happens today. It's supposed to happen today. Where is it?
All right. Well, that does it for movie news. We will move into thoughts next. And you have some thoughts. You have some Italian thoughts. You have some Italian mobster thoughts. You have some gabagool thoughts. Tell me about the gabagool. Oh! Tell me about the gabagool. Is it good?
Oh, it's delicious.
I've never had gabagool. I don't actually even know what it is.
It's like some pastrami, some salami, some prosciutto.
Is that true, or are you just saying
Italian?
You're just saying Italian words? All right. Tell me about the many saints of Newark. Tell each one of them. Identify all of the saints.
There are many saints.
Yes.
In Newark. This is the prequel to the long-running TV show The Sopranos.
Yes.
On HBO, and this is more or less 2 episodes of The Sopranos back to back.
But before you knew them on the show.
Yes.
As a prequel, it's them younger.
Yes. But the whole tone, the vibe, the shots, the acting, it's very reminiscent of early 2000 Sopranos.
Right.
And what everyone fell in love with. The question now becomes, does that play in 2021?
It's interesting that you say that as you kind of your intro here, because I feel like in 2021, The Sopranos is having a little bit of a renaissance. On the internet, it's become very meme-worthy. A lot of people are talking about rewatching it lately, not only just because of the looking forward to this prequel, but there was even an article that was some publication did last week, which is why Zoomers love The Sopranos, trying to explain why a younger generation has come to this thing that was before their time and are finding a connection to it. So this just happens to hit. Power. This just happens to be striking when the iron was already hot. People were already talking about the 20th anniversary of this show, and we're revisiting it culturally. And so it's having a little bit of a moment now. So yes, I do think the answer to your question is, I do believe this is the right time.
And the answer that I came across after watching it is yes, I did really enjoy my time watching it.
Yeah, see?
It felt like The Sopranos.
Yeah.
It also felt like mobster movie. Very, not just because Ray Liotta was in there, but very Goodfellas reminiscent.
Sure.
Or very Godfather as well, because everyone gets whacked. And not everyone gets whacked, but
every single person.
No, all the saints get whacked.
Yeah, there's many of them, so it takes a while.
Yeah, it's chronicling the not rise of Tony Soprano, but rather what got him interested through his family and how he saw that life from his family through his uncles, and eventually, spoiler, wanted to be in the family,
right,
and be a part of that business,
right.
But he's not the main focal point of this. It's his uncle, who's the main focal point in this.
Okay,
I liked it. I liked it because I watched Sopranos, even though I probably wasn't supposed to growing up. Parenting decisions.
Yeah, you know what? It's not your fault.
I was there and it was on.
Yes, exactly.
But I did leave the room for Sex in the City.
You're like, I don't want none of this.
No. That wasn't me. That was parents saying,
all right, now go.
Yeah. You can't watch Sex in the City, but you can watch The Sopranos.
Yeah, you're going to watch the violent show, but we're not going to let you watch the show with sex in the name.
Yes.
God forbid.
Yes.
God forbid. In Christian America.
But then Entourage came around and we just watched that. So
yeah, that is weird because I feel like that probably has more sex in it than Sex in the City.
More persuaded sex.
Sure,
insinuated
sex.
From
a more male-gazy perspective.
Yes.
Anyways. Yeah, with let's not relitigate the 2000s. Anyways, so this movie. So I have a quick question.
Well, I bring it up because those other 2 shows did get films.
That's true. They did.
Before this one.
A couple of them for Sex and the City. Now, I have a question about this. So do you think that, so it evokes a lot of the same style, a lot of the same beats, and a lot of the same kind of setting as the original series. But the one thing it doesn't have is a lot of the cast members, right? Because obviously...
That's where Leslie Odom Jr. comes in and steals the show.
All right. Okay.
He may be listed as a supporting character, but I loved every single second.
Media Boat favorite, Leslie Odom Jr.
Yes.
Lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So did it feel like there was a James Gandolfini hole sized hole in this thing.
Yes, there was definitely not that power figure within here. I mean, that's why it's called The Many Saints of Newark.
And also why they did a prequel, because they can't do anything during the show or after it because they can't use him.
Well, that's why they used his son in here. That being said, give it 5 years. I'd like to come back to this and have him be in a more prominent role.
Yeah.
Because he was only used in half the film for the second hour. First hour focused on very young Tony, not actual Michael Gandolfini on it. He was the second half for the second hour, or second episode, if you want.
Sure.
Because it's split like that. But also, he's not an actor. So comes across very raw and very emotional because he's portraying his father.
Right.
Give him 5 years and then revisit this with him at the center. And you could have a really good setup for a prequel trilogy series if you go TV with it. Same thing.
Yeah. That'd be
Give him some time to act. Give him some time to grow.
Yeah.
Some experience in it. Revisit in another 5 years.
Right. The other question I have is, if somebody has not seen any episode of The Sopranos, do you think that they would be missing a whole lot here? Or do you think this is a good potential intro to the series?
There's a lot of winks and nods and like allusions to the series if you haven't seen it. I think you kind of need that base, though, of what The Sopranos is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from cultural osmosis, though, I feel like a lot of people, especially in our generation, more or less know.
Yes, but you'll lose a lot more of, that character will become important, or that character becomes this person.
So it's more fun if you have the basis of understanding.
It's a lot more nuanced, and it's a lot more engaging if you know the characters and the locations.
Right. Okay.
That being said, I think it's still a fun film. It's definitely the better gangster film that's come out in a while.
Okay.
I mean,
do you think it's worth for people to actually seek out in theaters, or do you think just stream it?
Stream it, because then you can go directly to The Sopranos if you like it.
That's true.
It has that kind of bonus to it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
But nothing to essentially brush out and see unless you're like huge fan of Sopranos and you want to see it on the big screen.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I enjoyed it watching it in the comfort of my home, though.
Cool. All right. So that's a recommend, I guess.
Yes. Highly recommend if you watch and love The Sopranos. Recommend if you're curious at all about it, or just have like that missing out on a good mobster gangster film. It hits all the right notes in it.
You're like playing like a little keyboard there.
Oh no, that's
a xylophone.
No, that's like throwing the right spices into the sauce.
I see. All right. Here's the gabagool. Cut it.
Yes, the gabagool. All right. Did you watch anything?
Google what gabagool is. I did not watch any movies, no. So I got nothing to report here. Hey, so let's move on then out of movies and into television. And we always start television with that corner I'm pointing at right now, which is the sports corner. Yeah, they named that one. That corner specifically.
This one is specifically the
sports corner. Actually, I guess that corner is the sports corner because it's got sports happening.
Actual sports.
So, there. All right, fine. That's the sports corner now. Welcome to the sports corner where we talk about sports. Our first story of the sports corner: Tom Brady, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Because you know how I feel.
Tom Brady being in the league for 20 years finally did it.
Yeah. It was inevitable, I suppose. He has set the passing yards record. He beat the previous one, which is what? What was the previous record?
Oh, it's held by Drew Brees.
Okay. And has a 500 or better record against every team in the NFL.
It also means that he officially now has beaten every team in the NFL, as Tom Brady beat the Patriots this past weekend.
Yes, single-handedly.
Besting Belichick.
Yeah, but hey, you know what?
But I like that stat that every single team in the NFL, he has a 500 or better record. He has a winning record against every team.
I'm just saying, if the NFL was an esport, they would have nerfed him a long time ago. That's all I'm saying. This is clearly unfair.
Well, yes, Madden has been nerfing him ever since.
It's true. Yeah, I guess I realized that when I said that. I was like, oh, I guess it is kind of an sport. Whatever. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals and I keep trying to get used to saying this.
Sorry, that's not a thing. They lost last night.
They lost last night. Never mind.
Yep.
The Cardinals are the only undefeated NFL team left, while the Jaguars and Lions remain winless.
Yeah, I'm going to double check that, but
double check that.
I'm pretty sure that
the Arizona Cardinals have not lost a game yet. If that's not true, hey, or if that is true, congratulations. If that's not true, whatever. That means everybody is lost, which means everybody is on equal footing at this point.
Yep, they're the only ones. They're the only 4-0 team.
All right, well, Arizona pride, I suppose. And yes, hey, Jaguars and Lions, hang in there. You'll get a win eventually.
Yeah, you guys are both 0-4.
Sorry, guys. Meanwhile, what's not 0-4 in our heart is the Roval. And NASCAR playoffs continue, and the first elimination race takes place none other than at the Roval.
Yep, Charlottesville Roval will be happening this weekend. Your favorite race.
Yes, media boat favorite, the Roval.
Yep, and that will be the first elimination of the playoffs. Yes, NASCAR does have playoffs.
Weirdly enough.
And yes, they are in them. This is the third week of the playoffs and first elimination week.
But NASCAR had some good news in the history books this week as well. Bubba Wallace has become the first black driver to win at the top level of the Elite Stock Car Series since Wendell Scott back in 1963.
So I'm going to go off on a little tangent here and give you a little history lesson.
All right.
When Wendell Scott won his race, he did not win his race.
Oh.
Because the officials, because Wendell Scott actually lapped the field, but the officials didn't count it. So they didn't award him the trophy until hours. So they didn't award him the win until hours after, and a trophy until August of this year.
Wow. That's
about 20 years after Wendell Scott himself passed away.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
And so Bubba Wallace becomes the first black driver to win during the race.
Right. And be immediately recognized.
Yes, and be immediately recognized.
Well, congratulations to Bubba Wallace, though. That's a big deal. Yep. I hope he continues to win.
Yep. Congratulations to Michael Jordan as well. That's your first NASCAR win as an owner.
There you go. Congratulations. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yep. So that's NASCAR. And, of course, as you know, Major League Baseball is wrapping up with the playoffs having started last night. In fact, actually, why don't we have this game on right now? I was there. I watched the first wild card game last night. I watched the Yankees lose terribly to the Boston Red Sox.
Hey, they would have won, except that home run hit the green monster.
It did. I know that, and then they shouldn't have sent Judge home.
No.
What a bad call. So it was a really rough game to watch if you're a Yankees fan. I'm not even a Yankees fan. I just didn't want Boston to win.
Hey, Yankees fan, right back there.
I just didn't want Boston to win because Boston. But hey, you know what?
Oh, that's right. You have an affinity hatred of Boston.
Well, Christy does, and so I share that with her.
Yes.
I support her in her Boston hate.
Yes.
But the other wild card game is, as we speak, as we're recording right now, the St. Louis Cardinals, not to be confused with the Arizona Cardinals, facing off against the other hometown team, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Right now, in the middle of the second, it is 1-0 Cardinals. But I don't know how long that's going to stay.
So this is kind of disappointing why MLB needs to change its playoffs because the Dodgers won 106 games during the regular season.
Yes.
And get to play in a one-game elimination wild card.
That is a good reminder to our audience here is that the wild card games are not a series. It is a game. Instant sudden death. So if the Dodgers lose here, they will not proceed.
Yep, that's a 106 win season with nothing to show for it.
But you know what? They had their trophies.
They also had their trophies taken away from them.
That's true. I think that let's let them. I don't have a problem with them losing this game. I know it's probably controversial.
Yeah, don't say that too loud over there.
Yeah, the next apartment might hear us.
Yes.
But I think let's let somebody else play. How about that? Anyway, so we'll see the results of that later, and then the rest of the series will be next week.
Fun fact, the game right now is a revenge game with Albert Pujols.
Yes, it is. Except.
Yes. Yes, it is indeed a revenge game. Oof. As he played on the Cardinals for so long. Yes. And again, that was so long
ago. A long time ago. Yep. Clearly.
That was not even a full Tom Brady ago. Damn.
Yeah, let's not go there.
2002? 2004?
Meanwhile, if stats are more exciting to you than the teams, or alternatively, if your teams aren't in the playoffs, you might be more interested in this next baseball story. Your home run leaders this season. It was a tie. Vladdy Jr. and Salvador Perez finished the regular season with the most home runs, 48 each. Our hometown favorite, Shohei Ohtani, finished with 46, but made it to that 100 RBI count by the end of the season.
Yeah. Do note that all three of these players in the American League, so National League is way behind.
Yeah, but it also means the AL All-Star, or not All-Star, MVP is going to be a little bit more of a struggle than we thought. I still think it's Ohtani.
It still has to be Ohtani.
It still has to be Ohtani, just because
hometown heroes.
Yeah, because not only that, but also because Vladdy and Salvador aren't out here pitching as well, and Shohei is, and so I think that's the key thing to remember.
That could be seen as a counterpoint too, because Shohei's only pitching once a week and not fielding every day.
Yeah, but the fact that he was the best pitcher in his team at the same time as being in the lead and every other stat.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't not acknowledge it. You can't just, with the season
I'm not gonna not
I know, it. But you're not the voter, so
right.
You can't vote in this. I'm just saying that, like, to ignore the season that he had would just be a travesty. It would be something that people are talking about for, decades in baseball history. They're going to look back at that 2021 season that Shohei Ohtani had and be like, how was he not MVP?
Right.
So, anyways,
enough with the baseball corner.
What, anything else in sports before we wrap up the sports corner?
In sports entertainment, WWE had its draft.
They have a draft?
Yeah, they have a draft where they reshuffle their lineups between SmackDown and Raw.
Or is it a draft because no one's watching them anymore because everybody's obsessed with the other AEW? That's how cold it is. They're experiencing a draft.
That's why they have to do the reshuffling. Anyways, so that happened. It'll take place. The official lineup change will take place after Royal Rumble, which will be in 2 weeks on a Thursday. I believe that's on the 21st.
Okay.
So 21st will be Royal Rumble, and then 22nd will be the first new season of the WWE.
Good to know. All right, let's move out of sports then and talk about television news proper. And hey, it's the fall, which means it's almost the holidays.
Come on, you have to say it right. Say it like every other newscaster. It's fall, y'all.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm not doing that. Anyway, it's autumn. And that means that the holiday season is coming up. And of course, with the holiday season comes our old pal, Charlie Brown. He's associated with it because we get kind of a double dose of him in this season. We get Charlie Brown Thanksgiving always, and we always get, of course, the classic Charlie Brown Christmas.
Except last year,
because this story is kind of a follow-up from last year's story about how the specials, the Peanuts specials featuring Charlie Brown, were going to be taking off of network television and placed in streaming and or public television offers instead. Well, the Peanuts gang are ringing in the holidays this year with another New Year's Eve special. Apple TV Plus has announced a new Peanuts TV installment called For Auld Lang Syne, which will premiere globally on Friday, December 10th.
Well before people actually sing Auld Lang Syne.
True. For Auld Lang Syne, by the way, the first Peanuts TV special ever with a title that does not include the name of Charlie Brown or Snoopy, is also the first new original holiday special that comes following a partnership struck by Apple last year. Also, following its hiatus last year, Charlie Brown holiday specials will return this year to PBS. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown will air on PBS and PBS Kids on Sunday, October 24th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving will air on PBS and PBS Kids on Sunday, November 21st at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And a Charlie Brown Christmas will air on PBS and PBS Kids on Sunday, December 19th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So mark your calendars for PBS, some local public broadcast viewing of these classics.
Or do what Apple wants you to do and sign up for Apple
Yes,
TV
and watch it on their service.
and watch it on their service.
Either way, it'll be interesting to see what they do with a new proper holiday special.
We haven't had it since the voting one. Charlie Brown, Cast Your Vote.
Yeah, and then I guess it's been a while.
But that was like also a follow up to the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving,
right?
Because they usually put those back to back.
Yeah. So it's been a while. It'd be cool to kind of bring this to a new generation.
And yes, do note that's special and not the TV show, because the Snoopy show is available on Apple TV Plus, as well as Snoopy in Space.
Pretty much all of the Charlie Brown verse.
Yes.
The Peanuts verse is in there.
The Schultz verse.
Schultz verse. Yeah.
Except for the movie done by Blue Sky.
Right, that's different.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to our next story here. Hey, A&E Studios. Does that ring a bell for you?
If you've been watching Big Sky on ABC, it certainly does.
Well, I have not, but they're in the news this week for some deals that they have made. They're wheeling and dealing over here. They've landed the exclusive rights to the #1 New York Times bestselling author Sue Grafton's Alphabet book series, featuring private investigator protagonist Kinsey Milhone. This marks the first time the screen rights to the book series have been made available, with Steve Humphrey, Grafton's husband for more than 40 years, serving as an executive producer on the adaptations. Quote, "We are actively speaking with interested platforms and seeking a showrunner for the series, as well as the perfect actress to embody the coveted lead role of Kinsey." That's President Barry Josen. The series begins with A for Alibi, way back in 1982, and concluded with 2017's Y is for Yesterday, which was the last book that Grafton completed before her death in 2017 at the age of 77 after a 2-year battle with cancer. In 1997, Sue Grafton gave an interview in which she vowed never to sell the rights to Hollywood's silver screen, and Grafton's family felt this was the right time to bring the author's beloved books to the small screen so her legacy can live on as her work finds new audiences. So is Sue Grafton rolling in her grave?
As she said in the interview, she would come out of her grave to kick their asses.
Oh, I can't wait to see zombie Sue Grafton then already.
Now, note that she said that's not to be adapted to the big screen. This is TV.
So they found a loophole.
Loophole. As seeing as with streaming, it may not even reach proper TV because it's streaming. And who knew streaming in 1997?
So, I mean, I don't know anything about these, but they must have sold pretty well to have continued as a series for 20 years.
I've read several of these books. Yes, they are really good.
So, so there's a built-in fan base here that's just begging for an adaptation. So this will probably be a big hit, if I had to guess.
If I had to guess, you could do a season based off a book.
Yeah.
And that gives you
good.
25
seasons.
Like I said, it's an alphabet series.
Yeah, it keeps going.
So all the way up to Y. I mean, there is no Z. There will never be a Z.
Yeah.
No, that's part of like the will written out that
no one finish this.
No ghostwriters. No one's going to finish this.
Right.
No one's going to try and write a Z.
Don't do it.
Yep.
Although I'm pretty sure somebody has written something that they call Z.
You can find fanfic on the internet everywhere.
Fanfic of everything. That's the rule.
But this is definitely a big deal. Yeah. Those alphabet books are huge. Now we just need a cast.
Yeah.
I say
as somebody who's read it, what do you think is a good person to cast in this role?
What's her name? Right. Jane Levy.
You're bringing up Jane Levy, who is the star, if you don't know, of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Very inquisitive mind, very eye-opening. Zero singing in this.
That we know of. They could make it a musical. I don't know. Maybe. Just like, well, she came out from a musical. Let's just make it a musical.
Hey.
Why not?
I don't know.
Those are skills.
I liked her in Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I think she has a good kind of like mind when it comes to portraying roles. Right. I liked her in that. I'd like to see, now that it's over, I think she'd be good in this. Just slide right over to this.
Fair enough. let's slide right over ourselves into thoughts as we wrap up television news.
Ooh, how much thoughts do you have?
All right, we have a lot, turns out. So what do you think will be the quick hits, and what do you think is the ones you want to talk
I have a lot of
about?
finales to talk about.
Okay, so
let's go with the finales first.
Yeah.
To get them out of the way, since they're really quick.
And then we'll talk about the premieres.
Yes.
All right. So you finished off the third season of The Circle on Netflix. We had talked about it a couple weeks ago, kind of got your temperature about how you thought it was going. How did it land?
It still landed very awkwardly, as it does. As The Circle does, especially since it's always fly at the seat of your pants. We can change the rules at any time.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I said with season 3. It's both good and yet also bad because you don't know what's going to happen, but also you don't know what's going to happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can
All
happen.
bets are off.
Yeah.
Especially as they get more and more complicated, which is what this show has done.
Right. And they try and do more twists and turns and loops to where does it work? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Were you satisfied with the final winner?
Yeah.
Was it somebody you wanted to win as opposed to a big like producer style upset?
Yeah, it definitely didn't feel like a producer style upset.
Yeah.
Felt like someone, like if I was doing it, like how I would rank it. Yeah, everyone took my strategy and ranked someone who probably wasn't at the top all the time.
Sure.
Ended up winning because they didn't want other people to necessarily win.
All right.
That's typically how that would happen.
Yeah. I think that's how that works.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, do you think it'll, when they do a season 4, do you think it'll just get wackier and wackier?
Yes, it will definitely get
never-ending ramp.
Like, never-ending ramp.
All right. Okay.
I'm waiting for that ramp to eventually jump the shark.
Oh, I'm surprised it hasn't already.
If it hasn't already,
an actual shark will be a contestant next season. Just watch.
Speaking of jumping the shark,
okay,
and a megalodon of a shark, it was
boy. All right.
A big monstrosity of the shark.
Oh.
Wait, you don't know where I was going with
No, I don't. I actually don't know where you're going with this.
The musical adaptation of Schmigadoon.
Yeah, you stuck with this. I bailed.
When did you bail?
After the first episode.
Okay.
So
I also bailed on this.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I came back to it only to realize I only had one episode left.
Okay, all right.
Because I was just about done with it. And then I looked at it, I was like, oh, I literally only have one episode left. I might as well finish it. I came this far, even though I gave it like a month-long break since then.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you thought it was. It's stayed exactly the same. And that ending felt super rushed. I think they ran out of stuff material to cover, to parody.
Yeah.
And that it's just an absolute rush to the finale, and you don't even get closure at the end.
Which just goes to show you that it's like if you're going to come up with something that's such a big premise, such a big high concept idea, you have to make sure it can sustain itself through an entire series.
Yes.
And if it can't, you're going to run out of steam way earlier than you should. So I'm not surprised that it did.
I did like Cecily Strong in this.
Really?
I mean, I like that, like the concept of Cecily Strong in this, where she's combating the musicals constantly or calling them out on their musical prowess.
I'm not saying anything. Okay, here's my opinion about Cecily Strong. I think in certain sketches she works, but I don't know if she's that great of an actor. I think that's where I kind of land on her. I'm like,
well, that's the good thing about it. That she didn't have to get into the musical aspect of it. She kept fighting against it.
Yeah.
And I found that hilarious.
Hilarious. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with hilarious.
I just like the idea. If you didn't do your like amalgamations, like everything, like a little bit of everything titles for the podcast, if we just picked one thing to title, the concept of Cecily Strong would be a very, very funny title for this podcast. Anyway, by the way, I was looking at some of your titles. I hadn't looked at them for a while. I was just like, oh boy, you really reached for a few of these.
I just combined what we talked about in thoughts into something.
Yeah. Oof. Anyway,
hey, 300 titles. You write them all.
Yeah, I know. So Schmigadoon, not a recommend.
Not a recommend. Pass.
Skip it.
Skip it.
But what else did you finish?
A bunch of Disney Plus stuff.
Right. Let's get the 3 Disney Plus stuffs.
All right. first up, Monsters at Work.
Yes.
I meant to talk about this last week.
Oops.
Forgot about it. So I had to put it on here because
such a memorable show, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
Despite what I keep seeing online about how it's a good show and a good workplace comedy, I didn't want to finish it. I didn't want to complete it. I like the universe it's in.
Sure.
It's fun, but it's more workplace comedy than it is monsters doing funny stuff, trying to be funny.
Right.
The balance tipped more one way than the other, and it kind of had to in order to keep you interested. But maybe just because I watched all of Superstore, and Ben Feldman is the common link in that.
Right.
And he's doing another workplace comedy. Kind of tilted that way.
Too similar.
Yes.
Too similar. And yeah, I feel like the thing that people loved about Monsters
also Mindy Kaling was in it.
Oh.
Which is from The Office. Yeah, and so that also kind of tilted it that way.
But yeah, I mean, the thing that movie had that everybody loves about that movie and is the heart that it had, the emotional center.
It's not the monsters telling jokes.
Right, exactly. It wasn't. It was literally about like the relationship between like Sully and the kid.
Yes.
And like, if you don't have that as your thing, then it's just about the monsters. It's the reason why I think a lot of people were disappointed with Monsters University. Mm-hmm. It was just like, this is not what we signed up for. This is not what we loved about that first movie.
So, well, maybe not what we loved about the first movie, but some people love it.
Sure, I guess. But so yeah, I guess if you're making something with those characters, the world, I guess, then you have to make sure you're eliciting the right part. And I don't know if they've succeeded here.
I'm not sure if they succeeded here. That being said, I could see this getting a second season.
Yeah, because it's Disney Plus.
Because it's Disney Plus, yep. And it's Pixar, and they can just like put new directors on it and say, here, new director.
Yeah.
Direct a couple episodes here. See how you like it, how it works out for you.
Yep.
Yep.
But what they're not going to crank out is probably these other two shows.
You might be surprised.
Uh-oh.
Turner and Hooch.
Yeah.
Josh Peck as the son of Tom Hanks, because you couldn't get actual son of Tom Hanks in here.
He's busy.
Doing what?
Recording voice acting shit. I don't know what he's doing. Anyways.
Because he's not on that CBS show anymore.
Well, and Chet Hanks is too busy having White Boy Autumn, I guess.
Yes.
White Boy Summer is now over. So
yes, it's White Boy Autumn now that we're in October. So yeah, Josh Peck as Turner and Hooch. Your love of Josh Peck will determine how far you go in this film. In this series.
I certainly love him more than the other guy.
Yes. We've officially forgotten about the other guy.
Yeah.
Ever since his stint in Cincinnati, I think it was. Ohio.
Something like that. The non-criminal from Drake and Josh.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Josh Peck.
Josh Peck.
He does a good job.
All right.
I liked him in this.
Okay.
I didn't want to like him in this. I'll say that right now. Like, I thought this was going to be like a flop. I thought it was going to be like very kid Disney.
Yeah.
Like the dog is making all the funny here.
Especially when it's like revitalizing a movie that no one's thought about for 20 years.
Right. But the second episode is what actually hooked me in this thing.
Okay.
Because the second episode, strict ripoff of Die Hard.
Oh, wow. What?
Yes. Second episode.
Huh?
Second episode.
Turner and Hooch. The second episode of Turner and Hooch is a Die Hard?
Is a Die Hard throwback, yes.
What? Okay. What is this series?
And after that, after that second episode, I was like, okay, there's some fun elements to this.
All right. Okay.
I kind of liked what you did there. It got me into it. Like the first episode, obviously, it's the pilot, it's the hook. It's like, boy meets dog, dog becomes police. Part of the
becomes police.
Part of the U.S. Marshals. Oh yeah, he's not a regular beat cop. He's now U.S. Marshal.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, you kind of up the stakes when you do that too.
Yeah.
So it not only like chronicles Turner and Hooch being U.S. Marshals taking down bad guys. There's also elements within it that kind of do dog training in it as well. Like, hey, did you know that dogs do this? did you know that dogs could do this? And Tooch is essentially super cop at this point. Because like, oh, he's doing this thing. Why is he doing that? He's just being a bad dog. No, it's actually a reason. We're going to explain it to you at the end of each episode.
Smart ass dog.
It is stupidly smart dog.
Yeah.
So that element is for the kids. But for the adults, you get kind of the continuing mystery of what Tom Hanks Turner, who's spoiler, dead.
Right.
Not spoiler, because it comes on the first episode. What he was kind of up to and kind of tracking down before his untimely demise. And now his kids are taking over in the, continuing the mystery of what happened.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of everything for both kids and adults. And I think that's what it works. It has that right blend of Disney fun for the whole family.
Okay, all right.
And slap that on a poster.
Yeah, put that on the box if they sell DVDs.
Put it on the box.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
That sounds better than what I imagined it was going to be.
It surprised me.
Yeah.
A lot.
That sounds like it.
Yeah. Like I said, get through at least that second episode.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love that second episode, it's kind of more like that.
Takes off.
Not essentially like rip off from films or homages to films.
Yeah.
But more U.S. Marshal kind of police work than what the first episode kind of sets up.
Sure. That's cool. That's good. I'm glad it's good.
Yeah. I'm happy it was good. It made me feel happy watching it.
But what if
I didn't like it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What if you didn't like it? What if there was an alternate universe in which that wasn't the case? Tell me about what if ... which is also on Disney Plus and is not about Turner or Hooch. It's about Marvel Comics.
Yeah, it's Marvel's What If.
Yes. Which is basically the premise of that is what you think it is. It's basically like, hey, what if this character, this established character, was actually in this completely different context?
What if this one decision completely changed, happened and completely changed the way the multiverse or the MCU worked out? Mm-hmm. It's basically the continuation of Loki and the multiverse.
But also it's, from what I understand, riffing on an existing comic series that is existed in Marvel for a long time.
Yes. Technically, Spider-Gwen or Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen
was a what
if character premise,
right?
And was brought into the actual standard universe.
You could almost think of it as like the Marvel Comics pilot program in a way, where it's like, hey, let's see if the fans like this, maybe we can make this its own thing.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
I mean, it also works in a way to where if they want to bring new characters over from the multiverse or dead characters back. I mean, they did it they had Chad. So this was officially Chadwick Boseman's last project.
Right.
They worked on with Marvel, doing voice acting for his T'Challa character here. So they can, in a sense, bring back and bring different characters in and out of previously established films. And like, hey, what if we change this and kind of go off and do more elaborate stuff through it?
Mm-hmm.
It's fun until you get to the last 2 episodes. Then they kind of feels like a back-to-back, like the whole reason they set it up. The big Avenger-style team-up, which you could have seen coming from a mile away.
Oh, okay.
And if you didn't see it coming from a mile away, shame on you for not knowing your TV lore. So yeah, not a whole lot of lore in it, but a lot of one-off episodes that eventually, because you watch all the episodes, link together because the characters all team up together from the different universes. Spoiler, if you didn't see that happening.
Right.
Like, what do you think was going to happen? It's fun.
Yeah, so it's
yes, there will be a season 2.
Okay. Do you think it requires a whole lot of back knowledge about the comics, or is it built for people who are coming in from the MCU?
It's built for people coming from the MCU. Okay. If you watch the MCU films, it takes from that. You don't know
what the characters are going to see. You know everybody. You know the context.
Yeah. And you know why this thing changes. Yeah. Like, oh, so that all goes this way now.
Because like the puzzle becomes more fun to move around the pieces if you know that the audience has the context for it.
Right. So, and you also get interesting team ups as well.
Right.
Like Michael B. Jordan Eric Stevens, Killmonger character, with teaming up with Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Right.
When normally they don't ever cross over.
They would not.
But he can do it here in animated universe. What if?
And I saw, the one that I see that seems to be most people's favorite here is the idea of having T'Challa as Star-Lord.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody really likes that. Do you think that spins off into its own thing?
I mean, like its own TV series? Maybe. I mean, this also kind of works as, like you said, a pilot program for different TV series.
I mean, obviously, you do not have Chadwick Boseman's voice going forward.
You have to
recast him. But besides that, it makes it an interesting concept to kind of play around with the pieces. Now, I guess the last question I have about it is, do you think they go far enough with it? Like, are they playing around with these characters in really like interesting ways, or is it all very boilerplate? Oh, what if this character was with this hero and not really being very daring or adventurous with the mixing and matching they're doing?
The first couple episodes are like that. However, at the end, the more episodes you get into, the more the changes become very significant, and you don't see the direct movie correlation, which is why the third episode, I think, is my personal favorite, where all the Avengers start dying off.
Oh.
And you're trying to figure out why. I liked that one a whole lot more because it didn't go off of established film.
Yeah.
It just took the scenes of, this is where they met. Now they're going to die. This is where they met.
We're going to kill them all. Great.
Yeah. And you're like, it's a mystery. I don't know what's going to happen. And I like that aspect more than ripping off established film and just changing something on it.
That makes sense. Well, cool. I'm glad it's interesting. So there'll be more of it, I'm sure.
I'm sure they'll do a season 2 and focus on like phase 3 and 4 more than what this one was phase 1 and 2.
Right. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, some stuff is that's the stuff that ended this week, but we also have some stuff that started this week.
We did.
So tell me, what is Outrageous Pumpkins and how outrageous were these pumpkins?
It's October.
Give me an example of how you can make a pumpkin outrageous.
Make a pumpkin look like a dragon.
That would be outrageous.
Yes.
I can't imagine that dragon.
Oh, you can't imagine the dragon?
I can't imagine that dragon.
Ooh, well, we had some thunder. You add some thunder to it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what is Outrageous Pumpkins? It sounds like a reality show where people do crazy things with pumpkins. Am I right?
Yes, because it's October.
Yeah.
And because people love carving pumpkins.
People love carving pumpkins.
Yes. We now get to pit the best pumpkin carving masters against each other.
So it's like Lego Masters with pumpkins.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
They're set in a pumpkin patch where they grab their physical pumpkins and create these outrageous pumpkin designs.
Yeah.
I'm
just imagining the host being like, grab your pumpkins, and everybody like go and grab them.
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of a mad dash to grab your pumpkin and start carving because you're limited to like the pre-build or the pre-cook
pre-cook.
Like because of the cooking terms. This is on Food Network.
Prep, like the prep period, right?
No. Like the first bake, the first competition.
Oh, so like round 1.
Yeah, round 1.
Okay, got it.
It's on Food Network. Let me use my Food Network stuff. So you have 3 hours to do a carving.
That reminds me. I started watching another show. I'll add it.
Okay.
I'll add it verbally.
Yeah. So you have 3 hours to do a carving.
Right.
Of a standard jack-o'-lantern, and then the 6-hour period for the following after it is the full-on like huge outrageous pumpkin thing. Like someone created a shark coming out of it. Someone created a huge turtle. Like the thing was like creatures of the deep. So someone created like a monstrous turtle out of pumpkins.
All right.
It's hilarious, but also super fascinating and super cool.
All right.
So if you like pumpkin carving and it's October, by the time Halloween comes around, they'll have the finale.
What is this on? Is this on Food Network?
Yeah, it's on Food Network.
All right. Well, cool.
Late night on Food Network.
Late night. Record it.
Yeah, record it. It's like 10 o'clock at night, but I don't know. Either record it or wait for the inevitable like binge watching all the way up to the finale.
Or watch it on Discovery Plus.
Or Discovery Plus. It still exists.
All right.
Next day on Discovery Plus.
Exactly. What do we want to go to next?
Well.
Okay.
Would you want to say this to the end?
Yeah, why not? I'll talk about the couple of things that I started this week. So Disney Channel had been announcing and talk about like the next season of Amphibia for a few weeks now. It's finally here, season 3. I would tell you the big change of season 3, but it is a major spoiler for the end of season 2. So I cannot tell you on this podcast, but just know that there is a major sea change that happens and the characters are in a different environment than they were before.
I thought that was part of the ending of
That's
season 1.
No, that was season 2. Is the ending
the ending of season 2.
The ending of season 1 does have a similar thing that happens, but not in the same way as the ending of season 2. However, happy to report that the first episode of the third season's very, very good, and that show remains very, very good, and I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Is that Disney proper or Disney Plus?
Disney Channel proper. I believe that after they finish this block of 10 or whatever they're doing, it will then be moved to Disney Plus, just like they did with the Owl House earlier this year.
Yep.
Right before Amphibia, though, a new animated show on Disney premiered called The Ghost and Molly McGee. I watched that pilot as well. And it's super cute. I think it's a really good a new addition to their animated slate. Basically, the premise is of this one, there's a ghost who's kind of like a social reject in Ghost World. He's kind of unpopular.
He's Danny Phantom?
No, he's not Danny Phantom. Very clearly not Danny Phantom. And so he's got he and the rest of the ghosts have like a scare quota that they have to reach, kind of Monsters Inc. style. Mm-hmm. That's not working out for the ghosts because they're like being, I guess, affronted by too much joy. There's too much joy in the world right now. Okay. So they need to balance it out. So he tries to find somebody to scare. It just so happens that his home has just been moved into by a family. And
dun, dun, dun.
One of the family members is a young daughter, the titular Molly McGee, who is not afraid of no ghosts and is completely unfazed by this haunting. In fact, instead wants to become best friends with him. He, of course, is trying to seal the deal of the ghosting and curses her to basically haunt her forever and be by her side forever, which, of course, backfires on him because she is in love with him, not in a romantic way, but wants to be best friends with him and enjoys being haunted by a ghost 24/7. So that's the premise.
Can't he just like ghost her?
So the thing is that because he made that curse, he is bound to her. So if he does try to escape, if she calls him back, he has to return to her.
How old is Molly McGee?
She's 13. She's in junior high. Question mark. He's dead, so he could be any age. He is written as like, I think it's like Bobby Moynihan voicing this guy. So he's written like in his like probably late 30s, 40s kind of guy. Okay. He's like a schlubby dude, unpopular ghost guy who's gross and you would think the exact opposite of Molly in every way. But Molly doesn't care because she loves weird stuff and she's willing to give this ghost a chance.
So actual Bobby Moynihan is a ghost.
I believe it's Bobby Moynihan. I could be wrong. I don't know. He does other voices on other of these Disney shows. Sure sounds like something he could have done.
Yes.
But yeah, basically it's a fun show. No,
Snyder.
It's not. It's Dana Snyder. Damn it. Anyways.
Close.
Anyway, so
Ashley Birch.
Yes, Ashley. Sorry, I missed that. Ashley Birch is Molly. It's a fun show. It's really well animated, as all these Disney shows are. Some of the stuff they're doing, I think it's Rough Draft Korea because it's always Rough Draft. They're doing a really good job with it, and it's just a good looking show. And before you ask, because I know you're going to ask this, where's the lore? Does not look like it's going to be that kind of show, at least not yet.
Not yet. Similar to first seasons for a lot of Disney stuff.
It looks like they're going to establish a lot of the gags before maybe they go into more of the rules of the ghost world, which is kind of the way they could pivot this. But yeah, I'll stick with it. It's very interesting and it seems very gaggy. It does remind me of the closest stylistic match to it is first season of Star vs. Forces of Evil, especially because there is similarly a school that serves as a set piece for it.
Right.
So yeah, it's neat. Also, it follows in the footsteps of Amphibia and Owl House as having a non-white lead character. The family is Thai, just like the family in Amphibia.
Ooh, okay.
So another Thai girl lead character. It's neat. Anyway, So I've been watching that last and real quick. I'll be quick about this one. You talking about Food Network reminded me I am also watching a food show, but not on the Food Network. Christy and I just started watching the newest season of Great British Bake Off.
Oh, you're one of those.
Netflix. She got me on the train, so we watched the first couple of available episodes of that. And yeah,
whatever season they're on, season
question mark. Don't even commit to a season. Who knows? So yeah, it's fun. It's exactly what you think it is.
It's more baking.
It's more baking.
More British baking.
We watch them make biscuits, which are cookies. So yeah, I'll report back when that's over and see how it lands.
Not unless they're Ted Lasso's biscuits with the boss.
No.
Real quick on that note, Ted Lasso finale is on Friday. Yes. We'll have our thoughts next week.
Oh boy, with the last episode, I am really wondering where the show is going to go for its finale.
Boop.
We'll see. Possibly. Anyway, that'll do it for thoughts, unless there's anything else. Oh, wait, there's one last thing
Hold up.
We have to talk about.
Yes, we have to talk about not only the new season of SNL, but also the lack of clothes that Casey Musgraves is wearing.
Yeah, we'll get there. Saturday Night Live premiered its season 47 premiere with host Owen Wilson and musical guest Casey Musgraves, which Casey was good. The rest of the show still sucks.
Yes.
I can say with finality that I watched it, gave it a shot, and it's still not good.
Yes, I hardly laughed at any of the jokes.
The sketches were bad.
This season does note Colin Jost and Michael Che surpassing, I know, I hate to say it, surpassing the Weekend Update desk hosting duties of Seth Meyers. They are now the longest tenured at the desk.
Oh no, that just hurt me. That hurt me in my soul. The one thing that they did do that was good is that at the very end of Update, they did do a little tribute to Norm Macdonald and just played some of his clips from his seasons. A welcome respite, and probably the only time I laughed in the entire production.
So now we need to talk about the Forrest Gump throwback.
So Casey Musgraves did a couple of her songs from Star-Crossed, Justified and Not Like the Movies.
No, Camera Roll.
Camera Roll?
It was Camera Roll.
Oh, sorry. I forgot which one it was.
It's Justified and Camera Roll.
And so, and for the Justified performance, she came out naked with just her guitar in front of her, just like that scene from Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, for those of you who maybe did not believe that she was actually nude, guess what? She apparently was.
Variety came out and confirmed it.
They confirmed it that she was actually nude, which is like, whatever. But so.
Like pasties at least. But
no, Casey's brave, I guess.
She was bearing all. Just her and her boots and a guitar.
And it was the best part of that of the show of the night was her performances. I thought they were both very, very good.
Yes. Even if you couldn't see a whole lot of her, you could definitely hear a whole lot of her.
I did like the outfit she was wearing for the second performance, though. I was like, that's very cute.
Yes.
Anyway, so SNL continues to be SNL.
And you're going to pass on this season.
Oh, definitely. I'm not going to, especially not going to watch this next one, which is hosted by Kim Kardashian West.
For now. Kim Kardashian West.
Pass.
All
right, let's move on into cancellations and renewals. Now that thoughts are over. Paramount Plus is bringing back The Real World Homecoming for a third season.
Wait, what am I no longer watching?
Yeah, you didn't do your line.
Okay, cancellations.
Because I'm here. It throws you off.
Yes, I'll wait for the pause. As you type up cancellations on it.
Tap. I don't type it up. I copy it from my sticky note app and I paste it into the Logitech Capture.
Shh. Behind the scenes, episode 300.
It's not going to matter. We're not going to do it that way anymore.
I know.
Anyways. So next up, OWN, the The Oprah Winfrey Network, is renewing All Rise for a third season.
That's moving from CBS for 2 seasons.
To OWN.
Okay. Oprah saved it.
What is Bounce?
I don't know. Why do you ask?
Well, whatever information source you got this from, there's apparently a network called Bounce. It's not going to skip you anything. He literally audience, I just want you to know that he literally just Googled bounce, the word bounce with no context. There we go. Okay, now he Googled Bounce TV.
Yeah.
And has found it. Well, apparently there's some show called Johnson, no relation, that they've renewed for its second season. Oh, he has pulled up the synopsis for the television show Johnson. Four black men, Omar, Greg, Keith, and Jarvis, met in grade school and have been best friends ever since. Unnecessary comma. And they all just happen to have the same last name, Johnson, ... No relation. After 25 years of friendship, they are finding themselves in vastly different places in their lives, threatening the unity that has always been so strong. They confront and find humor in the most current controversial social issues from the black man's perspective, capital B, capital M, ranging from love, marriage, business, politics, and religion. So there you go. Season 2 of Johnson just started. You can get it on the ground floor, catch up with Johnson.
Premiered on August 1st. And yes,
Johnson.
That is exactly Johnson.
Johnson.
No relation.
Johnson. All right, so let's stop talking about Johnson. Starz is bringing back BMF for a second season. Disney is bringing back Raven's Home for a fifth season. And Apple TV Plus has canceled Mr. Corman after just one season. Sorry.
George JGL.
Yeah, that was the Jiggles. That was Jiggles show.
Yeah, Jiggles?
Jiggles. That's what people call Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Sure.
Jiggles.
Okay.
Anyways. Then we have one death to talk about. Mark Pilcher. Pilcher?
Yep.
Pilcher. Age 53, a makeup artist. Worked with actors on Bridgerton, Downton Abbey, Mary Queen of Scots, and won an Emmy this year in 2021.
Not just this year. 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, won an Emmy. Yeah, that's rough. Age 53. You don't have any context about how this happened. But
complications from COVID.
Oh, COVID got him. All right. Well, that's very sad. And condolences to his family and the cast that he worked with.
Yeah. Active.
Yeah.
In the...
Seemingly like and good at his job, turns out. Let's end this then. And that's it for deaths. And we'll move out of television and into music.
And we always start music with the Billboard. And we start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And it's so hot like butter that BTS melted away to a new #1 song.
But not with butter.
No, not with butter. No, with Coldplay.
They have help this time, yes.
I'm sorry. Coldplay is not the name of their song.
No, it would be weird if it was.
Yes. The song is My Universe by Coldplay and BTS.
Yeah.
Crossover. Do we think Coldplay knows who BTS is?
I do believe they do. Yes,
okay.
Because this song happened.
All right. At 2, Stay by the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber.
Hey, you got Leroy right this week.
Coming in at 3, the best song on the album, Industry Baby by Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow.
Can't argue with you there.
Coming in at number 4,
the best song on the album.
Way Too Sexy by Drake, featuring Future and Young Thug.
Well done. Well played.
And rounding out your top 5, Fancy Like by Walker Hayes.
Which doesn't have an album, so we can't make that joke a third time.
No.
So yeah, the Applebee's song, which is what I'm gonna. I wish that it had parentheses the Applebee's song after it because
Fancy Like Applebee's song.
The Applebee's song,
yeah. As for Billboard 200, your albums chart, your #1 album is.
I do want to say with an asterisk because I believe this was to the wire to the point where this is what Billboard says, but the Variety story said something different. So I actually do not know what is actually your #1 record.
Well, we go off of Billboard 200 for this podcast.
Yes.
And your #1 album is Sincerely, Cantrell by Youngboy, Never Broke Again.
I mean, if he keeps putting out albums, he will never be broke again.
Yeah. And coming in at #2, Certified Lover Boy by Drake.
So the question is that it looked like they were neck and neck for a while, and it was a question whether or not Youngboy Never Broke Again was going to barely get above Drake, but he may have done that.
May or may not.
Yeah.
For this episode, he did not.
Well, it's important for the history books because I'm sure Drake would want to know that he had 3 weeks at #1.
Yes.
So, but hey, maybe he doesn't.
We'll look back in this and said, ha.
Yeah.
At 3, Montero by Lil Nas X.
Yep.
At 4, Donda by Kanye West.
Donda.
Yes. And rounding out your top 5, because it's the best album of the year, question mark.
Question mark, allegedly.
Allegedly. Sour by Olivia Rodrigo.
Yep, still there.
Still there. If you didn't like any of those albums, we have new releases.
All right, what am I listening to this week?
We're listening to Talk Memory.
No, I'm not.
By Bad, Not Good.
It's one word. Bad, Not Good.
That's also not how I'm going to describe the album necessarily.
I don't know, maybe.
It may be Bad Bad Not Good.
Bad Bad Not Good.
But it is by Bad Bad Not Good.
Bad Bad Not Good. It's just fun to say.
Yes. We also have The Million Things That Never Happened by Billy Bragg.
Because he doesn't have that much to Billy Bragg about.
Haha. Also, What If? He did have a million things that did happen. We also have Friends That Break Your Heart by James Blake.
That's sad.
I Want the Door to Open by Lala Lala.
I will be listening to this week.
La 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 la.
Yes.
La 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 la. Moreover, there is a Pillar of Salt by Noah Gunderson.
Moreover, it's fancy.
Yes. Welcome Break by Pip Blom.
Also be listening to this week.
All Day Gentle Hold by Porches. Illusory Walls.
I am very excited for you to read this band name.
By The World is a Beautiful Place and I am no longer afraid to die. That is the name of the band.
That is the name of the band.
Not the title.
They often abbreviate it, but as you might notice, even the abbreviation is very long.
No guard.
Yeah, that's it. You nailed it.
Also feel like this should be reversed, where Illusory Walls is the band,
right?
And
Beautiful Place. No, that's the band name.
Okay. And lastly, In the Court of the Dragon by Trivium.
I cannot imagine that dragon.
But this is the Court of the Dragon.
Yes. Anyways,
there's so much music that we have to talk about. Just so much that we round them all up into nice packages of bits.
It was too much this week. Too much.
The bits. We start the bits with Mitski.
Hey, yeah. Remember Mitski?
Yeah. Returns with a new single and tour dates.
Yes. So
and the tour ring.
Back in town. She's not going to be coming to Santa Ana, but she will be in LA. We'll talk back about that. No, she's at somewhere near the shrine. Apparently.
Ooh, okay.
Anyway, Mitski's back. The new single is out. No record to come with it quite yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did the same thing she did last time, which is announce a single and then a couple weeks later give that some room and then announce a record. We'll see. But it sounds like her, and it sounds pretty good.
Well, we'll look forward to that.
We'll look forward to the smell of garlic bread too.
Mm-hmm. We also have Halsey's album, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power.
Film.
Coming in a film version to HBO Max tomorrow.
Yeah, we had known that this was in IMAX theaters to coincide with the album release.
Yep.
But HBO Max made a deal to get it on streaming. So it will be on streaming as of tomorrow. So I will definitely check this out before next week because as I've been on the record of saying on this show, it's one of my favorite records of the year.
We'll talk about that at the end of the year.
Yes, we
will. Also, if you somehow went out and bought a ticket in IMAX to see this, you could have waited.
You could have waited 3 weeks. But hey, no one's judging you.
No one's judging you. Not even Halsey's judging you.
No. She has more money for her.
No. However, who are judging people is YouTube as they kaboom, put the kibosh, put the ban on R. Kelly's channels.
So anything that his team ran is now basically banned from YouTube. That doesn't mean you can't find R. Kelly's videos on YouTube through other sources, though. Those are still up. This is just his channels that his people, his...
R. Kelly's Vivo is down?
So rkelly.vivo or whatever is probably... Yes. Well, actually, that might exist because it's not on YouTube. But if you look at that on YouTube, you might not find that anymore. They're doing what they can, but obviously they can't ban every instance of R. Kelly on their platform. So...
unless they label all R. Kelly songs like they did the Rickroll songs for everything.
That'd be great.
There is a way.
They should do that.
You should do that. We just got to start the new Rickroll of Kelly, our rolls.
Hey,
Kelly
Rickrolls are hot right now. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, talk about that next
week.
Anyways. Speaking of Mitski going back on tour and bands going back on tour.
Yeah.
Festivals are also happening.
This is a weird one, though.
Yeah, it is. Because it's get this, baseball-themed festival titled Innings Festival.
Yes.
In Tempe, Arizona. Which makes sense because that's also where a lot of baseball teams go for spring training. And the dates for this, February 26th and the 27th, happen to be the week before baseball starts. And I believe also the days that pitchers and catchers report for training camp.
Yes. So it's a music festival, but also kind of a little bit of a baseball get-together because a bunch of famous players will be appearing at this, including our hometown hero, Tim Salmon.
Yep. He'll be appearing alongside Foo Fighters.
Yes. Not on stage, I don't think. Although that would be pretty rad. They're just Tim Salmon's out there jamming with Dave Grohl. I would be into that.
The bands playing include Foo Fighters, Tame Impala, and St. Vincent.
Among others. So,
among others, this sounds a bit like Bonnaroo.
It's not a bad lineup. It's just weird. I was talking to a friend last night about it, and she was like, I got down to the bottom of the poster, and I was like, I don't recognize these bands. And I'm like, those are baseball players. It was very funny. So, I don't know if you're in Tempe, Arizona around that time, and you like these baseball players, these classic baseball players, then, hey, go check them out.
Yeah. Baseball legends include Roger Clemens, off steroids, I believe.
Nice.
Tim Raines, Sean Casey, Tim Salmon, Russ Ortiz, and Jim Abbott, and much, much more.
Yes, more to be announced soon, it says on the concert calendar, or on the poster as well. So
yes. By the way, Foo Fighters and Tame Impala will indeed be the headliners. I'm wondering why you did put My Morning Jacket and Black Pumas.
Or Dashboard Confessional.
Yeah, or Fits in the Tantrums on here.
I only gave you the hits.
Only the hits?
Plenty more where that came from.
Yes. All-Star Baseball Jam, hosted by Jake Peavy.
Anyway, so
the hits.
Innings Festival. So go check it out if you're near Tempe on the 26th of February of next year.
Or maybe in and around Tempe that time, because you may go out and watch some baseball.
I mean, but that's the next weekend.
Yeah, the 5th and the 6th.
We will. So yes, for to be clear, we will be going out there, but not that weekend.
We're planning on going the following
weekend after. So so we will just miss the Innings Festival. Oh, rats.
Oh, darn.
Anyways,
I have no good way to segue to this, so I'm just going to say it.
Right.
Adele.
Yes.
Teases her new single.
Did you miss her? Well, she's back.
Yep. But take it easy on her because the new single is Easy on Me.
So this coincides with a bunch of apparently alleged
leaks and legends.
Well, it's been leaks for a while and then rumors for a while. And then apparently last weekend there were a bunch of the number 30 projected on buildings in certain major cities, and everybody thinks this is viral marketing for 30, which presumably would be the name of her next record. Why it's called 30 when she's 32, I'm not really sure, but
it's when she recorded.
It's when she started recording it, maybe. It's backdated to the 30.
Yes, she labels the album before she's finished with it.
Right. So after a little bit of a break there, it'll be good to have Adele back.
Yep. Also good to have back is Taylor Swift. Yes. As she not only released a song from 1989 earlier, moved up the date of Red, Taylor's version, to November 12th. I believe that's a week ahead.
Yes, and if you're putting on your sleuth detective hat, it's possible, not confirmed, but it's possible that these two stories are linked. There is at least one insider source that thinks that the reason why she moved it up was because Adele is going to release her record the week that was originally planned. So the week of the 19th just now might be Adele's week instead of Taylor's.
Hey, at least she gave her warning. Right.
Taylor. I believe Taylor did a similar thing with Fearless when, or no, not with Fearless. Was it with Evermore? One of the last couple records she did, she made an similar agreement with Paul McCartney when he released Paul McCartney 3.
Okay.
Apparently they had some sort of backroom deal where they made sure that they weren't on the same week.
Right.
Because that's the power you have when you're Taylor Swift. You can just call up Paul McCartney.
Right. You just can't claim your masters.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Anyways. Speaking of Paul McCartney and really old people, David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
Yeah. that David Lee Roth officially retiring after his final shows in January due to health concerns.
And not any serious health concerns. To hear him say it, he's just aware of the fact that he's getting older.
And he's just done with touring.
He's doing the thing that Paul McCartney should have done a long time ago, which is realize that you're too old to tour at this point. So yeah, you know what? Good for him. Retire, enjoy your golden years, David Lee Roth,
or whatever you have left of them.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, that's enough of the music bits.
But there's one big story.
Oh no, this is its own story. This ain't a bit. This is like the big story.
This is the story.
I was gonna put this in TV and sports, but hey, I'm glad you have it down here.
It belongs here.
It belongs here. So the NFL officially announced. Well, the NFL didn't do it. Pepsi announced
on behalf of the
NFL who they will be who they have chosen to perform during the Pepsi halftime show present at the Super Bowl presented by Bridgestone. They will be the official title.
Yes.
And it'll be none other than some of LA's finest musicians of Eminem and Mary J. Blige.
And then
when they're but
Eminem's not from.
Yes, I know that's the
joke.
The
joke. Okay.
Yes, that was the joke. But it'll be headlined by Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Kendrick Lamar.
Yes,
that's right. Not one artist is going to be headlining this year, but 5 headliners.
Yep. So nearby Compton and Long Beach will be represented.
Yes. So that's 5 artists for a 25-minute show in LA's new Sophie Stadium.
Sophie.
She's
what you call her?
She's Sophie. We're going to Sophie's house.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was officially announced. The show will be put on through Jay-Z's production company as well, as we announced last year that he was partnering with the NFL to help bring more inclusivity.
Right. And this is a good move for it. I think this proves that he's done at least some work because this is a lot of people that you wouldn't necessarily think of seeing at a halftime show being at a halftime show. It's also notable here that this lands in an interesting place for Kendrick Lamar, who is still expected to release new music at some point? Question mark.
So they now give him an end date of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So if he doesn't make it in 2021, I could easily see this as his chance to debut a new single in anticipation of that record in February.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Yep. This is also a course correction for when the Super Bowl was in Atlanta and they didn't get Big Boy or or any of the other Atlanta hip hop artists.
Bring together Outkast.
Yes. Yes. This is that course correction that Jay-Z is still bitter about. As like, hey, we're gonna do it right this time.
Yes, they're doing
and
it.
Also, $1 billion stadium gets $1 billion.
Yes. Clearly.
Acts to follow it, and I want to see what they do with that infinity ring.
Yes.
How they incorporate it.
Oh man, that's exciting.
I'm excited for this halftime show.
All right.
Despite what internet people are trying to say,
I think it'll be excited. I think I'm looking forward to it too. I think it'll be really interesting this year.
Yep, it'll be good. I have no doubt.
Oh, right.
All right. Did you listen to anything?
I did, but I'll be really brief about it. I didn't type it because it's like, whatever. I listened to the new Illuminati Hotties record. It's very, very good. And if you liked any of her previous stuff, you'll like this one too. One of my favorites of the year so far.
Okay. Can we expect to see this at the end of the year?
Possibly.
Well, when we get there, you can definitely talk about it there.
We'll figure it out. Yes.
We'll figure it out. We do have to rank these. You do know that.
Yeah, I know.
The more you listen to, the more you got to rank them.
At this point, I am thinking that I might not be able to keep it to a top 5. I might have to do the top 10 this year.
Ha! Yes. Because our list, and we do what we want.
We might have to do top 10s this year.
Spoilers.
For some of these things, because I've actually watched and listened to a lot of and played a lot of things this year. So yeah, we might have to do it. We'll see. We'll reconvene.
We'll reconvene.
All right.
Speaking of reconvening, we will move on to video games.
Yes.
And we start with new releases.
All right. What am I playing this week?
I don't know what you're playing this week. But here are the new releases.
Hey, we did it. It was just the wrong section.
Hey. The Switch.
Yes.
It's 2 games.
Right.
We have Metroid Dread for the Switch.
Which I'm shocked you didn't leave for last because this is the biggest release of the week, people.
No, it's not.
It is You cannot say that.
I can say that because I am not a Metroid fan.
Yes, but this is incredibly important. Metroid Dread is the 5th proper Metroid game and the first Metroid game since
like
2002. 19 years. Yes, Metroid Fusion.
You've done your waiting?
Yes.
19 years of it?
We've done our 19 years of waiting. I'm so excited to play this game. I will probably buy it, but I'm not 100% sure because I still haven't played another game that I need to play. So I'm hoping to play it at some point, but I'm really looking forward to Metroid Dread.
All right. Well, the other game, if you don't want to play Metroid Dread, is Tetris Effect: Connected on Switch.
Yes, after following its release on every other console, now Switch players can play it too.
Yep. We also have Monster Crown for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Yep.
Sorry, new geners or next geners.
Yep.
Back 4 Blood for the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC.
As long as you don't have a Switch, you can play it.
Yep. And your biggest release.
I don't think so.
Your biggest multi-platform release.
Yeah, multi-platform, sure.
AAA.
Sure.
Studio.
How dare you say that Metroid is not a AAA franchise?
I didn't say franchise, I said AAA studio, Ubisoft.
How dare you? How dare you? Anyways.
Far Cry 6.
Yes, Far Cry 6 is out.
Giancarlo Esposito invades your consoles on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC.
Yes.
Sorry, Switch owners. Maybe you'll get a cloud version.
Yeah, you might get a cloud version, exactly.
But we'll make that joke again later.
But yeah, I may or may not talk about Metroid next week.
We will see.
We'll see.
So let's get to some video game news. And we start with the juicy one of Sony.
Yes.
So remember when we don't delve in rumors here on the podcast?
No, we typically don't.
We try not to. Well, there was an accidental reveal back in June about Sony acquiring Bluepoint Games to its ever-growing list of PlayStation studios.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was there and then it wasn't. Turns out it actually happened.
Yeah, it's actually happening.
Yeah, it's actually happening. Bluepoint Games has acted primarily as a porting and remastering studio and has worked with Sony Sony more than any other company since its foundation in 2006. This included projects like Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Vita port, and most recently Demon's Souls on the PlayStation 5. They're mainly a port studio, but now they're officially being absorbed into the PlayStation Studios' ever-growing list of companies.
So the running theory seems to be is that the main reason for this acquisition is similar to the last acquisition they made, which is because they're going to have a pipeline for ports to PC continuing going forward. So don't be surprised if we see Bluepoint kind of spearheading PC ports for the announced Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy ports that are coming soon.
Mm-hmm. Don't be surprised if you also see them attached to any Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War ports that may come.
That are also rumored to happen.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Well, Zero Dawn's already a PC. I think you mean Forbidden West.
Yeah, Forbidden West.
Yeah, if they do a PC port of that.
Horizon.
Yes, Horizon, the franchise.
Coming in February. Mm-hmm. Or whatever. Coming soon, maybe.
But of course.
This
is not the biggest news.
No. The biggest news happened
giving you
yesterday.
This is the real reason why we're doing this show in person. Not because of, 300 episodes. Yeah, that's nothing. The real reason is because this is the news that you've been waiting for a very long time.
Yes, this is the news that a lot of people have been waiting for a very long time. Since 2016, people have been waiting for this news to finally arrive.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, more or less. The final DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. They are closing out the roster. There will be no more new characters for Smash Brothers. That's it. They're done. Yeah. This is the end cap of it. What started with Mario.
You're really milking this.
I want to milk it for all it's worth. 300 episodes, baby. Woo! Milking it.
Full of milk. We're just dairy all the way down.
Anti-lactites be gone.
Yeah. You're lactose intolerant. You can't listen to this podcast. This is impossible. Yes. Anyways, get to the point.
The point is, in 2016, Nintendo and Super Smash Brothers had a open contest.
Yes, they did.
For the Wii U and 3DS versions of Super Smash Brothers, that if you could have any character in the game, who would you want?
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, people assumed that the answer was Bayonetta because that's what they said. Bayonetta was the character that they could reasonably get into the franchise.
And they did.
And they did it. But Bayonetta was not the winner. The winner was Sora from Kingdom Hearts. By far and away, number one winner, but locked because of Disney.
Well, not just because of Disney, but because Disney owns a part of it and Square Enix owns a part of it. It's a rights nightmare to work with both of those companies at once to make sure that you have the rights to do it. Because it's important to note here, getting a character for Super Smash Brothers is not as easy as getting a character for Super Smash Brothers. You also get a stage. You also get music.
You get licensing. You get photos. You get trophies.
All licenses that are coming from different places because it's a Square series, Square hires actual musicians to do the music. And so
not just
you have to pay them too.
Not just that, but you have to make sure that the moveset is correct because fans of the character will critique heavily if the moveset does not match their character, if the character doesn't play correctly, and if the character is too OP, if it's not well balanced enough.
So needless to say, it seemed like it didn't happen for the Wii U game because it was a rights nightmare that Nintendo didn't want to wade into.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are.
We are today, 6 years post-poll, and players have gotten their wish. Prayers have been answered. Mm-hmm. You can stop spamming Sora for Smash every time a new announcement comes out about it because it happened.
Yeah,
it finally happened. You wanted this.
Well,
you got it.
Well, maybe not.
Well, I wanted this, but you, the internet, wanted it, and Super Smash Brothers has graciously extended the invitation. And yes, Sora from Kingdom Hearts is officially in Super Smash Brothers.
Well,
soon.
Will be in a few days.
Yes. 13 days. Well, now 12 days since it was yesterday. But yeah, 13 days post the announcement, which people then put a bunch of theories out about it because 13 is a prominent number in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. So take with that what you will. But unless Nintendo intends to make another Smash Brothers game, I don't think they'll ever do it. They'll just expect ports.
Yeah, that's the assumption you can make here. Especially naming it Ultimate does have the suggestion that this is it.
Right.
And yeah, it seems like they've done good by the fans with this. I think they've done good with the fans overall with Ultimate and how they've rolled it out. I think people are pretty satisfied with where it is right now.
A total of 82 characters. I think 200 in total with the different skins.
Yes.
That you can play with.
That is important to note that Sora has basically every outfit from each of the games he's appeared to.
Yeah. I haven't really. I mean, I guess I can gush over it now.
No, we don't need to. I just wanted to.
Oh no, let me gush.
We don't have time.
I know we don't have time. What do we don't have time? We have. Oh yeah, we don't have time.
We don't have time. Let's just say, Sora, we'll report back. I am letting him borrow my copy of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to test this out. Probably actually just let him have it. I'm not going to play it again.
I don't know if I want to unlock all the fighting.
The good news is that you can do it by character.
Yeah,
you can just buy Sora.
Yes.
For whatever it is, $8.
Yeah, $6, $5.99.
And then once you do that, then you can report back, and we'll have you talk about how Sora is.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah. Do note here during the reveal, and most likely during the game, 0 Disney characters.
Right,
That's important to note here that it's the characters that they do have throughout it are specific to Kingdom Hearts itself.
I would not be surprised if part of the negotiation was that Disney was like, nothing else.
Right.
Nothing else, just Sora. You can have Sora, but nothing else.
Yep. See, when they said, so the tweet came out said that a character you wouldn't expect. I was like, ooh, could they just do like King Mickey? I thought, no, Disney would never have Mickey in a fighting game.
No.
Hell, even having Mickey in the original Kingdom Hearts was a nightmare.
Right.
They could only have him for one scene.
Yeah. And got looser as it went on.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, of course, you know what this means.
That Nintendo is a part of Disney?
Nintendo essentially just opened the doors to having connected their universe to Disney's. Yes. That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Wait, you realize that this is just Nintendo cashing in, right? Because that door was already opened with Wreck-It Ralph and having Bowser in the film.
Yeah.
And Pac-Man in the film.
Yeah, but that's video games.
And Mario in the film. And Sonic in the film.
I guess you're right.
This is Nintendo cashing in, saying, hey, remember we let you borrow our characters from Wreck-It Ralph? Time to pay up.
All right, yeah, it's even trade there.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's interesting, and I'm glad they did it because I think a lot of people are happy about it. But yes, we will report back once you've played some of Sora, and then you'll be able to say all your thoughts about how you feel about Sora's representation in the game.
Yes, the announcement did come as part of the final Mr. Sakurai presentation showcase, where director Masahiro Sakurai revealed and showcased Sora from his company of the same name, Sora.
Yeah, no relation.
No relation.
But
there were also a couple Mii Fighter costumes as well. Octoling and Judd from Splatoon. Doomslayer from Doom.
Yeah.
As well.
And those will also be available on October 18th.
Yep, available October 18th.
So yeah, there you go. Super Smash Brothers. It's over. So I guess now's the time to jump in and play again because it's complete. You can just kind of figure out who you want your main to be without having to wait for the next character.
Yep. And if you want to play as Sora on your Nintendo Switch, you can do that.
Yes.
Not just on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but announced kind of immediately after it.
Yeah.
I know you don't have it here, but I'm just going to say it anyways because you know I'm on it.
So from what I understand about this is that they had to do this.
Yes.
Because one of the requirements for having a character in Super Smash Brothers is that game series has to be represented on the Nintendo console, on a Nintendo console.
Which it is in the form of Melody of Memory.
Yes, but yes, they did. They announced cloud versions. This is key. Cloud versions of the Kingdom Hearts games.
Yes, of the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 HD remake, of the ever-long name 2.8 HD prologue back cover.
Yes.
And Kingdom Hearts 3 with Remind DLC.
Right.
So you can get the all-in-one Dark Seeker Saga cloud version.
Yes.
Because apparently there's no...
You can't run that. You can't run a PlayStation 4 game or a PlayStation 2 game on a Switch. Everybody knows that.
Well, it'd be the PS4 versions.
Yeah, I know, but the joke's funnier that way.
I know.
But yeah, no, I don't know why they're cloud versions. I think it's stupid. I think a Switch could probably run those natively.
Because they can have like the actual cards.
Yeah, but they're not even that technically out there. Even 3 is not that technically out there of a game. I think the Switch could have run these games natively.
It's about 50 gigs for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, size is not the reason why you do a cloud version.
Right.
You do a cloud version because it's something like Control that literally has ray tracing shit that can't be done on a Switch. There's no excuse, is what I'm saying, for them to do it cloud, except maybe they just figured it was easier that way.
It might be easier that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
get all that digital dollars.
Just play it on a different console. I mean,
play it on the PC. Now you can literally play it on
your PC, but don't do that. Even the cheapest way of playing this game is just get it on Xbox or PS4. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that being said, once this comes out, you can play it on any console.
It was even on Game Pass for a while.
Yeah.
It was all on Game Pass for a very long time.
Kingdom Hearts 3 was on Game Pass.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to play. I mean, that is kind of the down thing. You do need an internet connection to play it, but if you want to play it on the go, you technically could.
Well, I guess we should mention this before we wrap up video games. Is the thing that happens alongside Metroid Dread also is the release of the OLED screen Switch. So if you have held out on a Switch and you're waiting to buy one, now is the time to do so.
Yep, the new Switch, I guess.
They're not even calling it that. It's just Switch with OLED. Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
That's it for video game news. Let's get to some thoughts.
Yeah.
We have time for thoughts.
Yeah. I'll be quick, though, so we can wrap up at a decent time here.
Hey, it's 300.
So, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's 300.
So you played some games.
Yeah, I'll do some follow-up about stuff I wanted to talk about last week before my internet started shitting the bed. I played a couple of games on Game Pass, speaking of Game Pass, that were relatively new. First up, Psychonauts 2, of course, the sequel to Psychonauts, a game that came out way back on the PS2 in like 2002, 2003 on the Xbox. I played a little bit of that game back in the day. I think I rented it from the Blockbuster, which shows you how old that was, and played a little bit of it, but I definitely didn't finish it or spend a lot of time with it. So I went into 2 not really having any affinity for the series, but I'm happy to report it's a pretty good game. It is a platformer in the same way that the original one was. There's a lot of collecting things and a lot of jumping puzzles and like. And so if that kind of harkening back to character action games of the PS2 era doesn't sound super appealing to you, this is still kind of that. Don't expect this to be something modern feeling. It is very much trying to evoke the feeling of the first game. However, what is modern feeling is what they've done. They've done most of the work here on story. The story is really good. The dialogue is really well written. The characters are really interesting. The scenario is fascinating. If you didn't play the original Psychonauts, it continues the theme of going into people's brains to try to plant information into them, kind of like Inception, but more literal than Inception. So instead of it just being like very vague, symbolic versions of what their thought process is, Psychonauts takes a very more literal approach. So, for example, it's like there's a couple in the game that wants to have or having trouble having a child. And one of the things that they do is its debt level takes place in a casino. And there's like the woman's around a roulette wheel and spinning the roulette wheel and it's landing on things that are like bad news for her. And so it's like they use these very specific fun metaphors. Well, that one's maybe not so fun.
That's not fun.
But you know what I mean. You know what I mean, though. Like it's an example of like they use these metaphors, like more specific metaphors, to be like, this is what they're thinking about. This is what they're preoccupied about. And how can you connect their thoughts in a different way to change their mind about something? And yeah, so it's neat. From what I understand is as the game goes on, there's a lot of really interesting like storytelling that actually gets really emotional and like meaningful. And there's a lot of commentary on mental health as the game goes on. I am only scratched the surface, so I'm going to continue playing a little bit more of it. But I think it's interesting. I don't love the gameplay, but I think the story might keep me going.
Puzzles?
There's not a whole lot of puzzles going on, at least to the point where I'm at right now. It's pretty much just a platformer with some light combat. With emphasis on the adventure game style story.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's neat. Especially if you like that first game, I think this is exactly what you've been waiting for. And a lot of people are really enjoying it. Unfortunately, though, I also played a different game on Game Pass, which I did not enjoy as much. Skatebird, which I feel like is the most disappointed I've been in a game in a very long time. Because if you
like the name,
if you pitch me on a game that stars skateboarding birds and they're super cute, I'm of course going to play it. Because that sounds like a wonderful premise. But the catch is this game controls very badly. It's not fun to play. The skateboarding itself never feels like you can get into a Tony Hawk style groove with it. You don't get all the tricks at the beginning. You have to talk to other birds in the level to get more tricks added to your repertoire, which makes it hard to just play around like a sandbox. The game kind of rubs against that kind of want to just skateboard as a bird, which is weird because that's the entire game, or at least it should be. And the other half of it is that the way they've done the depth of field is that anything beyond 4 feet in front of your bird is blurry. So, which is bad for a skateboarding game because you want to like, oh, you see that like ramp over there. I'm going to go over there because maybe I can pull off this combo better over there. But if it hurts to see it, then you're not going to want to look too far. And is it
bird vision?
I guess it's bird vision. I don't know. You can adjust the field of view, at least in the PC version, but I didn't mess around with it. It still bugged me that by default it was blurry. And I don't know. There's some cute things about it. The birds talk very cutely about their like owner, which they call their big friend. And some of the quests are really cute because it's like cleaning up his house. Like it's like, oh, go under the bed and clean up his like food trash that he's left under there before he comes back because we want to be big friends, best friend, stuff like that. It's very cute. But ultimately, it's not fun to play. It's really disappointing. So maybe skip Skatebird.
Oh.
Then lastly, in the Game Pass group here, I played Sable, which is more recent. This is last week's big Game Pass edition. And this game, I definitely recommend. Just like Psychonauts, I've only kind of played the first couple hours, but I'm already way into it. Sable is an open world game that is also kind of a coming of age story. You play as this young woman who has grown up in like a small like clan, like a little village community, and she's now come of age and now is set to become a glider, which essentially implies someone who is a nomad who travels around the land. And so you kind of get started. There's a little tutorial segment where you're kind of getting started, meeting everybody in the village and kind of getting an idea of what you can do. You go to some temples and find out. Do some like light platforming, and you get this ability to glide, which is literally being able to float around in this bubble that you can encase around yourself. And that's only the beginning of your journey, because then you're set off. Once you build your cool hover bike, you are set off into the wide world to basically just do whatever, discover whatever you want, ultimately to form masks that will choose your identity in the world. There are basically several different kind of established kinds of identities you can fit in with yourself. You could be a machinist who, like as the name implies, works on machines. You can be I don't know what the other one, a merchant and sell things. Like there's certain ways you can do it. And the whole mechanism of the game is basically doing quests for these people that you find in the world to get badges, and then trading in those badges for a mask. And as soon as you get 3 of badges of a kind, you get into the game right there and choose to be one of those things. Or you can keep going and get as many masks as possible and really...
all the masks.
Yeah, and really like just take your time in this beautiful like desert landscape and just really feel like you're finding your kind of own way. It works really well as being a metaphor for finding your identity. Okay. Where it's just like you're feeling it out and like having experiences and meeting new people. But the real star of the show here is the music. So I've talked about Japanese Breakfast on this podcast before. She put out a record earlier in the year that I very much enjoyed. She did the soundtrack for Sable. Most of it is ambient. Most of it is just video game music, but it's very well done and it's very fun. But then there is a vocal track that plays, and they picked the perfect moment in this game to play it. It is one of the coolest moments I've felt in a video game in a very, very long time. Is when the music, there's a late title card, the music kicks in, and you're just blasting down the desert in this cool hover bike, and while this Japanese breakfast song is happening. It's very, very cool.
Okay.
So yeah, Sable's on Game Pass, but it's also available on PC and PlayStation. I don't believe it's on Switch yet. But it's really, really cool. I'm really enjoying my time with it so far.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I didn't get to Deathloop. So hopefully by next week I will talk about some Deathloop.
Okay. I'm currently playing Deathloop, so we'll talk about it next week then.
Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know.
It's okay.
Okay.
Like I've only maybe I got through the first story part of it.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it next week.
Did you return Madden?
It's on the table.
Okay.
But speaking of Madden,
you're gonna make me do it. Got it.
No, I'm because I got Deathloop yesterday. So.
Yeah.
But speaking of Madden, I'm officially done with the
Madden?
Someone Awesome. I'm done with Madden right now.
Yeah.
But also, Someone Awesome completed his campaign to reach the Super Bowl.
Well done.
He did it.
He did it.
In his rookie season, Someone Awesome reached the Super Bowl.
Truly living up to his name.
Yep. Truly. To face up against the Cowboys.
Truly.
And put up 40.
The Cowboys made it to the Super Bowl in your weird ass season?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
They beat Tampa Bay in the AFC Championship.
Oh, that's where you ended up in Tampa Bay?
No. I ended up on the Jaguars.
Oh, that's right. Because of course you did.
Because
that's how the draft goes.
Yeah, number one pick.
Yep.
But yeah, the Cowboys being NFC beat Tampa Bay for the NFC Championship for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So I'm in the Super Bowl, and I put up an amazing 49 points in the Super Bowl. And I lost.
Yikes.
Because the Cowboys every time they got the ball, scored.
Oh,
So
no.
I had to score every time I got
every
the ball.
single time.
And when I didn't, no, I didn't do that. They scored at the end of the halftime and then scored at the beginning of the third.
No.
So they went up twice, and I couldn't catch up because of it.
It was a 2-possession game, as
and
they call it.
And I was done at that point. No, even if I scored immediately, they marched down the field and scored. They could not be stopped. Putting up 56 points.
I can't believe you let the Cowboys beat you in the Super Bowl.
56-49 is not my fault.
America's team. America's team.
I put up 49 points. That is not my fault. You don't play the offense.
I guess I should say that also this implies that the Jaguars also made it to the Super Bowl, which is somehow even harder to believe.
Yes.
Than the Cowboys.
It's okay. They got carried by someone awesome.
It's true. So, someone awesome was on that team.
Yeah, someone awesome was definitely on the Jaguars.
And it was someone awesome.
Yep. My overall feelings for Madden, I think this is a fine game, and every other year.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, next year they do the PS5 proper.
Hopefully.
It'll be running a lot smoother. I did love the loading times.
Oh,
because they're basically non-existent.
Yes.
I think that is definitely the one step up that I can't say running on the next gen is that
absolutely,
it's amazing how non-existent load times are for Madden.
That's right.
Especially playing essentially 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Even last year, because I played it during the Super Bowl. I had it running for free for a weekend. And that was still slow, I felt, for the PS4. So
yeah. Loading times, the best thing about this generation, hands down. Loading times.
Down.
Yep.
Until we get to the beefy stuff and where load time just creep back in.
Hopefully not. I mean, that's the whole point of the SSDs. So hopefully that won't happen.
Hopefully it won't. But yeah, I'm done with Madden then. That's going away now. But I did play the new PS Plus game, Hell Let Loose.
Yeah. How'd that go for you?
I don't know. Because I died just randomly. Well, not randomly. Someone was shooting at me.
Were you following your officer's instructions? From what I understand,
I couldn't catch up to my officer to get the instructions.
From what I understand, the whole thing about Hell Let Loose is that it's supposed to be a very realistic interpretation of a war game where you actually are in a unit and you do have to pay attention to your orders.
Yes, but because I spawned in the middle of the game, I was so far back that I couldn't run up fast enough to get to my commander.
Is it just proximity voice?
Yeah.
So you have to be near them physically.
You have to be near someone else. But I think that's one of the things about doing it with the PlayStation, though, is that you get
from the controller. Yeah.
So you can yell into your controller and you can talk back.
Yeah, that's neat.
So it's cool. I like that aspect. I did like being completely cut off from everyone else.
You just need to get faster and you get better.
Get stronger.
All of the above. Yeah. So are you not going to play any more Hell Let Loose?
No, there's no story mode to it.
Yeah, no, it's just a multiplayer.
Yeah. As soon as I realized it's just multiplayer game, okay, I'll give it an hour.
It seems to be best with friends, is what I've heard from people.
I am my own friend.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like if you are on a squad with friends, it's a little bit more enjoyable because then it's all of you trying to figure out what your officer's telling you to do.
Right.
So yeah.
Or you can play Don't Let the Bomb Go Off.
Yeah, you could do that.
All right.
Neat though. Neat game. We'll talk about Deathloop next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about Deathloop next week. All right. With that brings us to the end here. We did it. 300 down.
300.
Done.
Turns out when we're in person, we're a little faster clip. We don't have to worry about technical problems.
Right. Or waiting for the other person to respond because I'm right here staring.
Yeah, exactly. And there's crosstalk and it's not a problem anymore.
Right.
Anyways. So thank you for watching this edition of the Media Boat Podcast. This 300th edition of the Media Boat Podcast.
300.
And it's this is Sparta. There, I said it. We needed to say it at least once.
You got it. You sniped it.
So thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week for another episode of the Media Boat Podcast. But in the meantime, if you want to watch this episode and other episodes we've recorded for you, go to youtube.com and search for our YouTube channel. You can find our channel by searching Media Boat Podcast and search for a field. Like, comment, subscribe, and maybe we'll be live next week too. Who knows? You can then find us in audio form by podcast services such as Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, among many, many others. Just search Media Boat Podcast. You can also find us on social media channels. Media Boat Podcast is represented on Facebook. Just search Media Boat Podcast and find our page. At Media Boat Cast is our Twitter handle. And every once in a while, we'll play some video games for you on twitch.tv/MediaBoat. And then last but definitely not least, if you have any comments that you want to make about the show, questions you want to ask us, anything you want to know, you can email us directly at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. That'll do it. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week for another episode.
Yep. We'll be back next week for the start of another 100 episodes that we make the climb. Well, now we're back down the mountain, but the next time for the next 100 to episode 400.
It's the climb. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay. Hey, no, yeah. YouTube.
You're
live. Still here. Right here.
Hey.
Exactly. 2 hours. Yes.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, one viewer. Bye.
Bye, sister.
The stream will stop immediately and you will no longer